I'm 54, so after being to HELIFEST for a good few years, I know that trying to go back to work on the Monday after it is pointless. So I've taken 5 days off. My God, I need it too. Welcome you legends and heliheads, you choppers and stick bangers, you twizzle whizzle thumbs and everyone else. Welcome to this video on Hely-Shop. First up, let's get the obvious out of the way, which some of you who watched the video from 2024 up there will know, and that is on the subject of toilets and of cost of beverages and food. Look, here's the thing. HELIFEST, the event organisers, Grant and Jason and their families, etc., who help organise this event for us every year, they took upon themselves to make sure that conditions were appropriately set this year so that there was a proper toilet block on the HELIFEST line that only those people at HELIFEST could use. And even in silent hours, there was a portaloo which was always clean and emptied regularly for those people that were camping and staying over. So fair play. That said, very clearly, lessons weren't learnt from last year by the event organisers. They know who they are, and I'm not going to start naming people, but he knows who he is. But you just didn't listen, did you, when it came to prices of ice creams? Now look, you shouldn't really have that happen, should you, at any event? There should be queues of people there, and they're not going to queue up all the time. They have to pay those sorts of prices for ice creams. I'm not going to go over what I did last year. You can see that video that I linked, and there's timestamps in there so you can go straight to it. But look, here's the thing. In general terms, the cost of food was a little bit high. The cost of tea was ridiculous still, in my view, £3. And all the vendors had all the same prices, which to me, and I'm in this industry, which to me just tells me that a memorandum of understanding was created on an encroachment and therefore set prices created by the event organisers. Even the vendors didn't want to sell their wares at those sorts of prices. I mean, it beggars belief. It's a lose-lose everywhere. People lose who have to buy it because they're buying it well above the sort of going rate. People who sell it are not happy because they have to sell it at a higher rate than what they would do if they were out there. And, you know, Western Part International Model Air Show, look, it's common sense. It's called economics. Reduce your prices and people buy more. It's simple, really. Jesus Christ. So that's it, done. Toilets and prices. Not interested in that anymore. Let's talk about HELIFEST. Whoa. There was more people here this year at HELIFEST, certainly on the Saturday and the Sunday, than I've seen for a fairly long time. I have been to HELIFEST before on a Sunday when the weather has still been good and there's not been that many people there. This year it was packed, as packed on a Sunday as it was on a Saturday. And look, here's the interesting thing about 3D flying. Most of us can't do it, and most of us don't know what it is that we're looking at when we watch it. We're just amazed that it's even possible. And what was very clear this year was that there was far more of the sky being used. And by that I mean the whole sky being used by the stick bangers, which spread out their manoeuvres, etc., and made it easier to watch. I've been to some events before where they do it right in front of you, fly around, come back and do it again in front of you. I just find that immensely difficult to follow. But this year, almost like a trend, if you like, they seem to have used a whole different sort of, take on things. It was the whole sky. Now, this year, HELIFEST 2025, under last year's winner, Stu Smith and Richard Van Aken and Jace Platts as well, I think, and a couple of the other judges, they had a much more formal, organised way of judging this year. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I'm not clever enough to understand, to be frank. But the point is that it was noted by those of us who are not 3D flyers, nor could be, that the whole of the sky was being used, and it was just a joy to watch. I watched all day Saturday, all day Sunday, although unfortunately I had to leave and miss the prize giving at the end. But this year it was captivating, and all due respect to those 3D pilots who fly like that. Every single one of you who entered, thank you. for that entertainment. Now, what I'm not going to do at Hely-Shed is start posting individual flights of every one of the pros and intermediates and so on and so on. There are other YouTube channels out there and they'll do a far better job at doing that than I will. But there are 3 specific flights I want to mention, 2 of those of which I did film, and I will post those videos separately because they just bloody well deserve it. Unfortunately, I didn't record the first person that I'm going to mention, and that is Matt Dukes. This was his first year and he was in the sport flying category, and to watch his flight was just a joy. Now, Matt came 3rd in the event, I believe, so not taking anything away from 2nd or 1st place at all. But for me, for Uncle Bob, and for the people that we were with from Parkour RC Helicopter Club, his particular flight was just fantastic. It was sport flying. So it was loops, it was rolls, it was flips, it was hammerheads, it was stall turns, it was the odd pyro, but it was using the whole of the sky. It was continuous, it was timely, it was a joy, as I said, to watch. And I went up to Matt afterwards and said, mate, thank you very, very much. Because we'd just watched him take several deep breaths as he approached the flight line. And when he got his helicopter back in one piece and put it down, the sheer look of relief on his face that 1, it was over, and 2, that he gave a good account of himself was very obvious. So the least I could do was go up to him and say thank you. And that really took him aback, and he was really chuffed that someone come up to him afterwards. The next flight, which I did record and I'm going to post separately onto Hely-Shed, and that is of our very own Tonchi. Now, Tonchi Szabo is 15 years old. She is one of the very few young women, girls in this hobby, and massively inspirational to any other girls who are thinking of picking it up. Only a year ago, she was pretty much flying around in circles and doing, as I've already explained, circle stuff. And under the guidance and mentorship and training online with simulators with Richard Van Aitken, who I've mentioned Richard many times. You can see his channel, RC Helicopter Richard, up there. Go pay him a visit. He has mentored her over the past year, I believe, along with other people. And Tonchi entered this year, her first year, and she came 4th. And what a flight. I was really, really vicariously proud of that young lady and how she performed. And I'm sure Peter, her father, was as proud, as was her mother and her brother Daniel. So well done, Tonchi. You really, really did give a good account of yourself, and I've no doubt that one day you will be a champion. Oh yes. 3rd flight is a flight of amazement, and sticking with the theme of young people, this young man came 5th in the sports category, and that is of young 7-year-old Stanley. Stanley Brains, you are a superhero. There is absolutely no question of that. The people that I was with, Uncle Bob and Albatross and Magpie and a few of the other guys, we have all been flying a long time, and we watched you fly and were just in awe and respect of your age and what it was that you were showing us. Your parents were immensely proud of you. In fact,
that's brilliant what I made.
Now that is a proud mum, and this is a proud dad.
He's definitely going to have a story to tell on Monday when he goes to school. Oh, he's made his dad proud on Father's Day.
Well done, Stanley. You made your parents immensely proud, and we were all in awe of your flying ability. So very well done, Stanley. We look forward to seeing you fly next year. What about Hely-Shed? What about this year? What about me? What about the event? What did I learn this year? Well, last year I said I was humble. I was humbled by the people who recognised me and said hello. This year I too was humbled again. There were that many more people saying hello, but this year was an awakening. And I want to say thank you to everybody who came and said hello, everybody who started conversation with me, everybody who pointed and said, "Here's Mr. Hely-Shed," everybody who took a free Baby Sick air freshener. Hely-Shed air freshener. Check. Yes, you too can be a legend. Come and say hello to me or Uncle Bob or anyone of the Hely-Shed groupies. Yes, there are some. They'll be wearing Hely-Shed hats. Come and say hello and get yourself a free, top quality air freshener. Limited edition. There's only 100 of them and they're waiting for you. These have been made by very well paid Asian people in a cellar somewhere in China. So you know what? Don't pass this up. You too could be a legend by having this in your car and reminding yourself of how much of an idiot I am and how useless this channel is to your 3D development flying, but semi-entertaining when it comes to anything else. Limited edition. You've even got a YouTube thing on the back there to remind you of Hely-Shed. So you know what? Come and say hello. Pick yourself up a free air freshener. Special edition. Smells of Baby Sick. What more could you need? I mean, really. Everybody who took time to have conversation with me and engage. But there were two particular people that I want to share with you. One I won't name for obvious reasons, as you'll find in a minute, and another I will. The first one was a gentleman who only 6 months ago was diagnosed with a terminal illness. And in short, swiping away on YouTube one day not so long ago, come across Monkey Boy here, watch one of my videos, laughed, watch another one, laugh some more, watch another one, laugh some more, and then thought, sod it, I'll give it a go. And went out, bought a helicopter and started his own journey, and then just quietly watched my videos, took away probably the 1 minute worth of advice that was worth listening to in probably a 20-minute load of old drivel, or 20 minutes worth of piss take, or 20 minutes worth of me being silly. And in his own words, Hely-Shed has made his life that much easier over the past 6 months. That was quite a hard fact to swallow, but one I did swallow, and thanked him and said to him that, you know, whatever I can do to help to make things easier. His only response was, keep going. So, you know what? That was an awakening. As I said to Mrs. Hely-Shed when I came back, you know, I realised that although YouTube's an extension of my hobby, I don't create content for YouTube. I have a hobby, and if I capture content as part of that hobby, I put it on a YouTube channel because it's part of my journey. But the awakening was the realisation that very clearly Hely-Shed was important, certainly to this one particular person. And I'd made a tough time easier for him. And so to him, if he's watching this, I wish you all the very best. Do stay in touch. And look, the Hely-Shed is open to you. You're welcome to visit and, you know, tinker in the Hely-Shed for as long as you are comfortable in doing so. The second person that I'm going to mention is a guy called Mark Beswick, who came and said hello with his brother. Now, I've renamed Mark Beswick as Early Bird because he posted a few videos on the Hely-Shed Facebook page. It's only a little page, I think there's only like 60 odd members there. But he's posted a few videos there of him going out half 4 in the morning flying helicopter. So I've called him Early Bird. And of course I've given him encouragement and so on. He too said that he was swiping away one day. I think he used to have something to do with RC cars, and come across me, made a bit of a, you know, had a bit of a laugh, and at the same time thought, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to give this a go. So went out, got himself some helicopters, bought a couple of second-hand ones, or bought a new 450, and he has been on that journey for the past couple of months. And he's on disability, I believe. So you know, he's someone who has a tough time of it, and this has brought him joy, and this has made things easier for him, and he's enjoying that journey. Gives him focus, and that much was very clear talking to him and his brother. So I gifted Pinkie. You may remember I said this. We of course have got Pinkie down the floor there. I think you can just see it around about there. Pinkie is an ALZ RC Devil 380, ready to fly. And I think what I'll probably do with Pinkie down there is gift her to somebody. So I gifted Pinkie to him and he was absolutely overjoyed. But early bird, you're on your journey. You've now got Pinkie. Look after her, she'll look after you. Don't rush it. Okay, wrapping up then. We can't wrap this video up without mentioning Alessio Romeo. Alessio was the founder and owner of Hely-Shop in the UK that had such an impact on this particular hobby. This is a very small hobby and this is a very small country. So everyone pretty much knows everybody when it comes to this particular hobby. And Hely-Shop had a huge impact, not just on the hobby, but on people. Hely-Shop has its own flight team and they are a very close flight team. And of course, this team has been immensely affected by the sudden and unexpected loss of Alessio. Of course, his family, Luigi, his father, and of course, Nikki and the children are devastated. Their worlds have been turned upside down right now. And earlier on, I said that this was a bit of awakening for me. It's also awakening, I'm sure, that if Alessio was still with us, he would be immensely awakened by the impact and understanding the impact that he had on so many people in this hobby. He was the first to answer a WhatsApp message at 1 o'clock in the morning asking for a set of blades. I know, I've done it many times. He'd done a couple of videos for us here for Hely-Shed on paying visits, and he was immensely supportive of his Hely-Shop flight team. That much is clear. That is a close team there. What they do going forward, I'm unsure. But what I do know is that when they gave their demo flights, they gave a fantastic account of themselves in memory of Alessio. And they got together for a very poignant and pertinent round the table, so to speak, a few people mentioning Alessio and their memories of him. And that was a privileged and beautiful thing to be part of or to witness. So to all of Hely-Shop's flight team members, you know, my heart goes out to all of you. I've spoken to pretty much all of you. I think I gave you all a hug, and sincerely, yeah, I'm very sorry for the loss of Alessio, for you all. Now, the flight team did put together a GoFundMe, and the link is in the description. So if you've got a spare quid or a spare dollar, do think about helping out someone else. Pay kindness forward. £1, $1, it all helps. Link in the description below. Right, that's it. Enough of me waffling. Look out for those 2 videos that I mentioned earlier on, Tonchi and Stanley. And again, thank you very much to everyone who said hello. Thank you to the super stick bangers. How you do that stuff, I just don't know. And to the sport flying, thank you for showing us what's possible. Till the next video, remember, it's all about the journey. Till then, take care, bye-bye.